The rental affordability crisis is an issue the entire world is talking about. Low levels of housing affordability leads to a fall in economic sustainability. When this happens, housing bubbles are created, where house prices overinflate and the market reaches a peak before inevitably crashing. The housing industry is one of the main drivers of global economies. And not only does this impact on the economy, but it leads to social issues such as poor mental health, stress on families, and in extreme cases, homelessness. Australia currently sits at third in the least affordable housing markets globally, with the issue continuing to grow. Within the Australian market, New South Wales is the most expensive, and the price of rentals in the City of Sydney area specifically have reached an all-time high, which now wears the crown of the most expensive rental housing in Australia, at more than 30% above the national average. So what does this mean for Sydney? This is pushing medium-income core workers such as nurses and policemen to outer suburban rings, which forces them to travel much further to work. This not only impacts on their quality of life, but significantly increases the carbon footprint of each one of these people as they drive from further away. This in turn places additional strain on infrastructure. It also promotes social inequality as the rich are the ones who can afford to live in these cities. So what can we learn from how the rest of the world is addressing the issue? In Canada, the states operate on one of two models, either an overseeing government body that regulates not-for-profit housing providers, or Crown corporations accountable to Cabinet, the equivalent of state housing departments in Australia. Nationally, these organisations have delivered a combined 30,000 units annually on average. Moving forward, Canada is now focusing on the challenge of revitalising the ageing affordable properties and incorporating a mix of private housing into these redevelopments to promote social integration. On a local level, Ontario not-for-profit providers are governed by the Housing Services Act 2011. This legislation provides for an affordable housing funding system and centralised waiting lists over the 47 local housing providers. The Housing Act has also clearly defined rent geared to income, which limits rent to a maximum of 30% of the tenant's monthly income. This program has delivered over 10,000 units in the last 4 years, most of these by local housing providers. This is sufficiently addressing the need for affordable housing in the area. The focus for these providers moving forward is homelessness, with the state calling for not-for-profit contribution to a new strategic plan titled the Housing and Homelessness Plan. The Netherlands is one of the most affordable countries in the world. There are about 3 million rental properties, with 75% owned by non-government housing associations. Housing associations became the dominant providers of affordable housing as central government property transfers and municipal housing funds are directed exclusively to them. These associations have clear guidelines and rental caps that are dictated to them by government. The housing associations are annually required to let 90% of their vacant affordable housing to people in the low to mid-income category. The Netherlands delivers approximately 3,000 new dwellings annually, with 30% of all new builds to be affordable housing. In Amsterdam, housing associations manage the affordable rental sector, which makes up 50% of the housing in Amsterdam. Rents are capped based on a points system set by government. It assigns a certain number of points to each property, which determines rent based on the condition and quality of a property. More than 50% of total housing production is being built by housing associations. They have also partnered with care organisations to offer social services to their tenants. Moving forward, Amsterdam is focusing on transitioning affordable housing tenants to property ownership. Transitioning the current generation of tenants into the next phase of their journey to home ownership will ensure the next generation of tenants will have access to affordable housing. Currently, the UK has approximately 4 million affordable properties, of about 7 million rental properties nationally. Not-for-profit providers are the major force in affordable housing and are governed by the Affordable Homes Framework. This framework sets parameters around new development and rents, which are locked at 80% of the local market rent. The amount of affordable homes to be delivered in new developments is calculated by council. Combined, these organisations delivered 36,500 new affordable units in 2013-14, easing the issue of mass poverty and homelessness. However, despite this extra supply, rental affordability is still a major challenge in the UK. Portsmouth Council has approximately 82,000 properties. Of this, almost 20% is affordable housing. Portsmouth has encouraged partnerships between developers and not-for-profit housing providers to produce mixed-tenure developments, integrating social, affordable and private market housing. Affordable rents are capped at 80% of market value. This addresses both housing demand and social inclusion. Portsmouth currently delivers around 150 new affordable homes each year, meeting the need for affordable housing in the area. This is 20 to 30% of their annual new construction market. Portsmouth is now focusing on the refurbishment of old properties and low energy efficiency in these buildings, as almost 50% of the buildings are up to 100 years old. When comparing the three case studies side by side, there are some recurring themes which have been successful, such as capped rents, minimum new developments to be affordable, utilising not-for-profit housing providers, and promoting private-public partnerships. Based on these case studies, the following is recommended for the City of Sydney. Cap rents for affordable dwellings. This would ideally be achieved through building under the affordable SEP and rents being calculated based on the income of tenants. Increase minimum percentage of affordable new builds. By setting a minimum percentage, this increases the supply of affordable rentals and will assist in lowering rents in the City of Sydney. Promote mixed tenure developments and encourage partnerships between private developers and not-for-profit housing providers. These partnerships ensure mixed tenure developments are tailor-made to suit the affordable social and private markets. If we do not show the foresight of the case studies, Sydney will suffer not just economically but also socially. The housing demand will not be met and Sydney will be set up for failure. If we learn from international best practice to address the issue now, simple controls such as rent caps, minimum affordable developments, mixed tenure and development partnerships can help ensure Sydney remains one of the most livable and diverse cities in the world. Let's retain this beautiful city and act now.